Right off the bat, I want to make something really fucking clear. This review is not about The Last of Us as a game. It's about Last of Us as a remastered version on the PS4. Before I go any further, if you honestly think that I in any way dislike The Last of Us as a game, you can fuck right off. The Last of Us Remastered on PS4 is an excellent port, for the most part. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the overall presentation of the game. Not a problem here. On the PS3, it represented the pinnacle of what the system was capable of, probably will be ever capable of, to be honest with you, and also represented the pinnacle of what storytelling and gaming had become by the end of that generation. This is a genre-defining moment. One could argue that the gameplay itself is a little bit derivative, but some of the best works of art in our society take what is best from all of our different cultures and mix them together into one cohesive statement. That's what The Last of Us is. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, it just really polishes that goddamn hubcap to a perfect shine. And it's something that works well, you can't wait to use. It's just an amazing ride. Easily the best game I have played on any console ever. It's not my favorite game of all time. It is the best game I've ever played on any console. And that's unlikely to change, because this thing moved me to tears multiple times. I'm going to put out a stream here, probably this weekend, that shows the opening of the game, so spoilers on that one. That's why I didn't do it before the review, but it does show my emotional response after playing the opening for the 4th time. Okay? It's a great game. So the opening was meant to shock you into reality that I'm not going to sit here and profess the wonderful stuff that is the game for the entire review, because that's not what this is here for. My concern is for people that played the PS3 version when you get a PS4 version, or more importantly, gamers who've never played it before and are picking it up on PS4 to see what all the fuss is about. This is what they're going to find. A really well-packaged, lovingly crafted version of the game that happens to have a lot of glitches in it. And I'm not just talking about pop-in. There was one instance in one of the levels where I died, and I fell through the level. And it was all white on the screen. It was glitching out for a few seconds before it registered my death. Also, there is a well-known glitch in one of the inside buildings where once you trigger the next step of the game, a ladder is supposed to spawn. The ladder doesn't spawn. It still doesn't fucking spawn. Luckily, I triggered the checkpoint, restarted the checkpoint, and it was there. These are little things, and there are multiple other examples of things not spawning like the ladder that I've seen online. I haven't experienced it, but I want to go off of what I have. And these are things that were present in the PS3 game that occasionally happened. On something that they've had over a year to polish and port, and they started porting it when the PS4 had been announced. I've seen it in several interviews. I don't know of a reason they shouldn't be able to go back and fix some of these little issues that the game was having on the PS3 release. They're small, they're not a huge deal, but if this is to be the definitive remastered edition for the next generation and is supposed to show people what Sony Studios can do, what Naughty Dog's capable of, you would think they'd take the extra time to make sure that what's in there is perfect. Because they got the gameplay and they got the story right. Didn't have to change any of that. Multiplayer is one of the best, most creative versions of multiplayer I've ever seen because it flawlessly recreates the single-player experience in a multiplayer format and has a metagame inside it. It is great. Not much more I can say about that. It's really, really, really well done. There was no flaws in the gameplay to begin with. It was the presentation that needed some polish. And that's all this was ever touted to be. So if you're going to sell me on something that's supposed to be a spit and polish, which is fine, spit and polish the goddamn thing. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Did any of this truly detract from my gameplay? No. It just brought up a concern that somebody who'd never played it before would go, they're full of shit. You know what I mean? That's, and it's a paranoid thing. And I'll admit to that. I'll cop to that. It's just for me that as good as the game is, the presentation should always be on par with that. The updated visuals are a huge step up. If you look at comparison videos I've seen, cutscenes before looked amazing, but the patterns on the shirts look kind of muddy by comparison now. Now it's like someone just cleaned everything up. Like they took one of those squeegees and just swiped everything off. It's amazing. In-game looks amazing. Cutscenes look amazing. Especially when you're looking at some really, whoever it was in charge of animating Henry, oh my fucking god, you deserve a goddamn award. You should animate everyone's face ever. Because I thought it was a real person. And they didn't do mocap on the faces. Everything was hand animated from reference. Good stuff. And if this is where gaming's going, I'm all for it. All I'm saying is that in a second release of a game, that its entire marketing campaign was to polish the game, you miss some stuff, Naughty Dog. These are things that are patchable. I hope they're patched. Whether or not they are, this gets the highest possible recommendation. Gameplay is an 11 out of 10. Presentation's a 9 out of 10. I'm only taking one off because they didn't quite get what they purported to get. Because there are some frame rate stutters in the opening cutscene. Nothing huge. But again, if you're going to sell me on something as a remaster, it needs to be a lot more polished than this. So if I'm being too harsh taking a 1 off on the presentation, fuck you. 10 out of 10 on the game. Like I said, best game I've ever played. Still is. I'll keep playing it. It's amazing. And the Center for Douchebag Control, we're going to clan up playing this multiplayer as much as possible. I will be playing it tomorrow. I'm starting a new work schedule where I'm actually working Sundays through Thursdays. So I won't be available on Sundays in the mornings anymore, but my schedule is relatively early. So it'll be like the early days of the channel, those of you who've been around, where I put out videos in the late afternoon so that they'd be there when you got home from work. Going to go back to that format, and I hope you guys are happy with that, because I am. So I'll be able to do more. And I'll be doing games at night, so... And this is going to be a big part of it until Destiny comes out. So, amazing game. Do not let me detract you from buying it. Just know that if you played it on PS3 and you saw some issues there, those issues are still present here, but most of them have been worked out. The ones that are there are glaring and they're immediate. They're momentary. So there's nothing across the entire game that's a detriment. It's just once in a while, boop, something pops up and takes you right out of this otherwise perfectly immersive experience, which bugs me. It can be fixed. I hope it's fixed. But I'm still grateful that we got this. So that's the takeaway. Don't go in here thinking it's absolute perfection, but it is still the game we remembered, just with better graphics and some of the same flaws intact. They didn't fuck up a good thing. They just could have made it a little better. That's my review.
So, it was alright.
You loved it.
Yeah, I kinda did.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And as always, keep on grinding. Cheers.